President, distinguished colleagues, I'm Senator Natasha, and I stand to raise a petition under Order 40. A petition may only be presented to the Senate by a senator who shall affix his or her name at the beginning thereof. The petition is in my name against the President of the Nigerian Senate, His Excellency Senator Godswill Akpabio, for sexual harassment, abuse of office, and malicious obstruction of my legislative functions. You may recall, sir, that on Friday in Arise TV, I did make some statements, and I have decided to narrow these statements in a formal petition against the President of this Senate. So if it may please you, I would humbly step forward and lay this petition.
You may proceed. Distinguished colleagues.
Senate President, again, I'm Senator Natasha, representing the precious people of Kogi Central. I beg to differ that this matter is sub judice, and I stand on privilege 10, order 10.
No, sorry.
Dear Senate President, please, with due respect, do you mind? I have raised an order 10 privileges, sir, please. It's my right, Senate President. Order 10 on privileges, please. I believe, and please, would you?
I'm hearing you.
Any senator may rise at any time to speak upon a matter of privilege suddenly arising, and he or she shall be prepared to move without notice a motion declaring that a contempt or breach of privilege has been committed. I stand and I believe herefore, sir, that your denial, your refusal to accept and treat my petition before the Senate Committee on Ethics and Privileges and Abuse of my privileges, and I say forth that this matter is not sub judice. It is not before the court. The matter before the court is on the defamation and cyberbullying statements made by your special assistant on new media, Mr. Patrick Conform, who addressed my decent outfits as transparent, thereby depicting that I walk sedulously and naked to the chambers. That is the nature of the petition, of the case in court. This petition, sir, has never been filed. The petition that alleges, or should I say, accuses you of making sexual harassment moves, abusing your office, and making malicious obstructions to my legislative functions has not been tendered anywhere before, no court in Nigeria. So, sir, I would appreciate if you kindly accept my petition and forward same to the Ethics and Privileges Committee so it could be treated. Thank you, sir.
Yes, first let's finish with Senator Bangunu. You're the chief whip of the Senate. Your point of order is sustained.
Section 60 of which says, we shall regulate our procedure. Secondly, we are guided by the rules of this Senate. Section 40, subsection 4, of which also says, no senator shall personally sign a petition to be laid before this Senate. It's not about committee on ethics. It's not about waiting for the committee to take a decision. It's about whether this matter is ripe to be referred to the committee. Mr. Senate President, you were being emotional because you didn't want to be seen as trying to stop this allegation. That was why you even allowed it to be referred. The Senate erred by referring it He's not competent to stand before the Senate. That is the issue. It was signed by most distinguished Senator Natasha Akpabio, for whom I have a lot of respect. We cannot rewrite our rules because of anyone, and we'll be setting a dangerous precedent. Number 3, other than constitution and the rules, the Senate is guided by customs and conventions, parliamentary customs and conventions. In all of these, Mr. President, this petition cannot stand for 2 reasons. 1, the issues and allegations of sexual harassment are already issued before the court, and 2, because it is defective. The petition is defective and is in violation of Order 40, subsection 4 of our rules. And in view of this, Mr. President, I just want to say that there is no way we can accept this petition. And having said this, Mr. President, may I then most respectfully, since you have said as well, we should go to the next.
I think we are not going to be hearing the end of the drama between Natasha Akpabio and Senate President Godswill Akpabio anytime soon. This drama is going to linger, is going to continue for a very, very long time. This is what happens when you don't have laws in your country, or when your laws are not being respected. Godswill Akpabio has been accused of sexual harassment by Natasha Akpabio. She went on a national television and alleged that Godswill Akpabio sexually harassed her. She equally alleged that Godswill Akpabio demanded for sex from her before he can allow her as a Senate president to carry out her legislative function in her constituency. After she granted that interview, you had some persons went on a national television, especially women, and they were supporting Godswill Akpabio. One of them is Iriti Kingibe, another one is Itagiwa, and you also had some women went on the street to ask Natasha Akpabio to tender an apology to the Senate president. Every of these moves is trying to bully Natasha Akpabio. They want to sweep it under the carpet. This is the normal modus operandum in Nigeria. When something happens, rather than treating it according to the laws of the land and let the culprit be treated according to the tenets of the laws of the land, they rather want to push it under the carpet. This is the same thing that is happening to Senator Godswill Akpabio. On a normal circumstances, Senator Godswill Akpabio ought to have resigned as the Senate president. This is a grave allegation. It is not something that should be swept under the carpet. This allegation violates the sacrosanctity of the National Assembly. Natasha Akpabio is simply asking the Senate president to refer the matter of sexual harassment to the Ethics Committee on the floor of the National Assembly. The Ethics Committee are in charge of looking into violations on the floor of the National Assembly. But if the Ethics Committee wants to look at a violation that is being committed by the Senate president, then there is 101% sure that they are not going to be impartial in delivering their judgment. There will be a level of favoritism towards the Senate president. This is the reason why the Senate president ought to resign. The National Assembly is not his personal property. The National Assembly do not belong to him. The National Assembly belongs to Nigerians and equally belongs to Natasha Akpabio. Godswill Akpabio being the Senate president is by privilege. At this point, we ought to look at the sacrosanctity of the National Assembly. The National Assembly is sacred. It is where laws are being made. It is where the policies of the executive are being debated. But of course, you know that laws are no longer being made on the floor of the National Assembly anymore. They have turned the National Assembly as a place where they debate their own personal interests. They have turned the National Assembly as a place where they debate the interests of the president, no longer the interests of the Nigerian people. That is why they are treating the National Assembly with disregard and contempt. This whole incident on the floor of the National Assembly is a disgrace to the National Assembly and also a disgrace to Nigeria. It is destroying the image of Nigeria in international community. Akpabio as a Senate president should know that Nigeria's image is at stake currently, and this matter should not be swept under the carpet. Let an impartial body look into this matter of sexual harassment and let they pass their judgment accordingly. We can no longer allow people who think that Nigerians belong to them. We can no longer allow people who are only concerned about their personal interests to ruin this nation for every one of us. We should be debating about policies. We should be debating about moving this country forward. Nigeria is currently at the precipice. Nigerians are going through the most excruciating period in their life. Nigerians are facing the worst inflation in the history of this country. The price of commodities have gone over the roof. Interest rate is at all-time high. The National Assembly ought to be a place where they can call the president to order, invite the president to come and explain how he's running his policies, to come and explain how his policies so far has added miseries on Nigerians, to come and explain what he has used the money that was recovered from the removal of oil subsidy for. The National Assembly runs checks and balance on the president. The National Assembly debates the policies of the president. The National Assembly make laws that are favorable to the Nigerian people. The National Assembly defend the rights of the Nigerian people. They are the representative of the people. But so far, they are not doing any of this. All we keep hearing is allegation of sexual harassment. All we keep hearing is budget padding. What exactly are they doing on the floor of the National Assembly? Absolutely nothing. This is a disgrace. This is a shame. We cannot continue running a nation like this. If the National Assembly is up and running, if the National Assembly is doing their job, I can tell you for a free, the president would have been held accountable. The president would have been on the national television telling Nigerians why the policies he said he's implemented is taking a very long time to add meaning to their life. The president would have been on the national television telling Nigerians how much has been recovered so far from the oil subsidy and where the money has gone to, whether they have reinvested the money or if they've saved the money into the Nigerian External Reserve. The president would have been explaining to Nigerians why exactly are we experiencing inflation. Take for instance Donald Trump. Donald Trump is on Twitter every day telling Americans what he is up and running, his policies, what he has done so far. He is constantly updating Americans on what he is doing as the president. That is because they have a robust National Assembly or a Congress that will hold the president accountable if anything go amiss. But here in Nigeria, the president, the executive, will do anything and go scot-free. Take for instance the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. This is a monstrous project. This is a project that will gulp down 15 trillion naira. Nigeria ought not to have gone into this project in the first place. There are many things that Nigeria would have invested that money into. For instance, the power sector or rehabilitating our existing road. Investing half of this money into any of these projects would have boosted Nigeria's economy and Nigerians would have benefited from it massively. But no, the president decided to embark on a white elephant project, a project that will benefit Nigeria if it is actually completed in the next 30 years. The reason why he did all of this is because we have a docile National Assembly, a National Assembly that is not loyal to the wish and needs of the people, but rather loyal to the wish and the needs of the president. Rather than doing what they were elected to do, they are involved in discussing about sexual harassment. Of what benefit is this discussion of sexual harassment to the Nigerian people? The time they would have had to debate policies, to make laws that will benefit the Nigerian people, they are using it to discuss about sexual harassment, and Nigerians are watching the drama and they are clapping and discussing about it. What a shame. Are we going backward as a nation or we are going forward as a nation? We need to set our priorities right and say enough is enough to these men and women that are dragging us backwards in this country. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.